Well, let me tell you something, brothers. Week 16, by the time you're watching this, has actually started. By the time that I'm currently in, it's Christmas Eve, has not started. But by the time you watch this, the Vikings and the Saints will have already played. And we have plenty of players running wild. So I got the hat on, Packers. I'm going to take it off because, I don't want to show my bias, but it's Christmas time. Hope you and yours had a great Christmas, great holidays, enjoyed it. Let's get on to the MVP race heading into Week 16. Week 15 is done, like I said, clear cut. We have another guy. So I said last week, and just in case you forgot, here's who I had last week. That's all I got. I haven't said this yet, but maybe you subscribe to the channel. Maybe you hit the like button if you enjoyed it, if you made it to this point. I'll catch you next week when it's probably going to be pretty much the same guys on the list. So those were the guys I had last week. And I said it was a 2-horse race. But I'm going to tell you at the end, after I reveal the 5, me and Vegas have, that I think there is a third option. And I said it last week, I mentioned it last week, but I think there's a third option, especially if you're a bettor. Now, it's not sure money thing, but there is definitely a third option that you can bet that could potentially turn into a win for you. So, without further ado, let's get started off with number 5. So I got Russell Wilson. Vegas actually has Ryan Tannehill. For me, the mighty have fallen. Russell Wilson, if you remember, Week 6, everyone was saying, surefire, MVP, lock it up, give it to him now. And now, Week 16, heading into Week 16, in my opinion, he's the 5th most viable option. According to Vegas, he's not even in the top 5. Spoiler alert, he's not in the top 5 according to Vegas. They have Ryan Tannehill. Why I could not put Ryan Tannehill here, and he's having a great statistical season, but it all comes down to the point where he is not the focal point of the Tennessee Titans offense. If you are a defensive coordinator, you're not thinking, I really need to stop Ryan Tannehill. You're thinking, I really need to stop Derrick Henry. And yeah, Ryan Tannehill benefits from that. Russell Wilson doesn't have any of that because they don't run the ball. And, it's pretty much all on Russell Wilson. So that's why I keep him here at 5 for me. I'm not even going to go into the stats. It's the same thing every week. It's just, but he's having a good statistical season. Last week against the Redskins, this is probably why he dropped according to Vegas. He threw for like 120 yards, threw a touchdown. Now granted, the Washington football team, their defensive line is filled with first-round picks, but still, you're Russell Wilson. You're one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You're expected to do a little more, and it's not like back in the day when you don't have any weapons. You got DK Metcalf, you have Tyler Lockett, you have some pieces there, so expect more out of him in that situation. Didn't get it. That's why he's 5 for me, not 5 for Vegas. Let's get on to number 4. It's Derrick Henry for me. It's also Derrick Henry for Vegas, and another spoiler alert. From here on out, me and Vegas agree 100% the top 4. But for me, Derrick Henry, again, everything I just said, why I couldn't put Ryan Tannehill here for me is why I have Derrick Henry 4th. You're a running back. He's having a great year. Still has an outside chance to get 200 yards or 2,000 yards rushing for the season. He's going to need to average like 200 yards for the next 2 games. But playing Green Bay this week. Green Bay's rush defense not great, so he might go for 350 and just he might get to 2,000 yards. He might just get it this week. He might just get it this week, and he might jump up next week for the MVP. But he's going to have a good chance. And again, same thing I said about Tannehill. Derrick Henry takes a lot of pressure off for Ryan Tannehill. When you're a defensive coordinator, it's not Ryan Tannehill that keeps you up at night. It's Derrick Henry. If we stop Derrick Henry, we probably have a good chance. Now, if a team stops Derrick Henry, does Ryan Tannehill, can he go off? Yes, but that's because they're putting 8 guys in the box to stop him. It opens things up for Ryan Tannehill, and he is a serviceable quarterback. Like, he is a good quarterback. There was a reason he was a first-round pick, even though it didn't pan out in Miami. But that's the reason I couldn't put him in my top 5, because I don't think he's as successful as he is without this guy. This guy's the real MVP on the team, and that's why he's 4 for me. And Tannehill's not in my top 5, even though Vegas, and when I say Vegas, I say FanDuel, that's where I get my numbers from, has him 5. But me and Vegas agree. Vegas has him at plus 4,000. Again, that's not a good bet. If you're going to bet money, just burn it at that point. If you're going to throw a little coin on Derrick Henry, might as well just burn it. Donate it to Chew. I don't know. Go to Teespring/Chew. Maybe buy a T-shirt with the money that you're going to bet Derrick Henry on. Probably better use of your money. Without further ado, number 3. Me and Vegas on the same page. Like I said, both have Josh Allen. Josh Allen, still having a great year. Really, really, really impressive. He's really impressive. They played the Denver Broncos last week, Saturday, one of the early Saturday game, NFL Saturday, and he did what he was supposed to do, and they shellacked the Denver Broncos. Josh Allen had a good game. That's what you're expected to do. I said coming down the stretch, Josh Allen was still an outside shot. He'd have to get like 4 or 5 touchdowns a game for the last 3. I think he had 4. I think he had 3 through the year and 1 rushing. Had a good game. That's why he's number 3. And if you look according to Vegas, I mean, his odds are plus 1,300. So he's still within shouting distance. Like, there's still a chance that he can do it. And that was the guy I said, and I'll elaborate more on that once I get all the guys out here. But, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do, and he's got 2 big division games coming up. So, plus 1,300, he's still, in my opinion, even though, like, they're not great odds, but it's close enough where I think he can potentially, depending on what he does, he'd need to play out of his mind, but he could potentially get up there, or at least make it a conversation, at least seriously get into the conversation. So, Allen, let's get on to number 2. So now, this is where me and Vegas deviated last week. So, we both have Aaron Rodgers this week. Last week, I thought Aaron Rodgers was the front runner. Vegas still had Patrick Mahomes as the front runner. Then Aaron Rodgers, we just talked about Saturday NFL football last week. Yeah, Josh Allen played, but then after Josh Allen, the primetime Saturday night game was Aaron Rodgers, the Green Bay Packers, at home taking on the Carolina Panthers. And he didn't play terrible, but he laid an egg, man. He didn't play great. Like, you need him. You want to stay in the front for MVP voting, like, or you want to be neck and neck with Patrick Mahomes, you need to come out against the Panthers, throw for 250, throw 3 touchdowns, no picks, complete 70% of your passes. Like, just that's the game you're expected to have against the Panthers. And in the first half, he looked like he was on pace for that. I'm pretty sure he threw for 90-some yards or 100 yards in the first half, had a passing touchdown, had a rushing touchdown. All he had to do was put another 1 or 2 in the end zone, and it's not an issue. It's not an issue. He's riding high. He continues on. But they didn't do that. It was almost like Green Bay took their foot off the gas because they were on pace. They scored 21 in the first half. Like, they were on pace to just blow that game wide open, and then they just didn't bring it in the second half, and I don't know what that was. They just kind of laid an egg. First half looked great. Second half did not. They did establish the run a little more. They gave Aaron Jones the ball a lot, and I think that's something that down the stretch they want to do because that's the kind of game they want to play in the playoffs, or they want to be able to play it in the playoffs, and they haven't really been handing the ball off to Aaron Jones, so I feel like that was a factor. But Aaron Rodgers was still getting his in the first half, and then in the second half, just dud all around. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, dud by the Packers offense. So he slips down back to number 2. I am a Packers fan, but I am a realist. And he's number 2 for me, number 2 for Vegas, plus 400. Still can do it with 2 games left. So if you're going to put money on someone in this race, Aaron Rodgers, probably your best bet. Plus 400, good odds, has a very realistic chance of winning. And he threw his 40th touchdown in that game. That 1 touchdown he threw was his 40th. He's the only player to have 40 touchdown passing seasons. So good for him. Those other 2 don't matter this year's MVP, but it's a good accomplishment for him. And obviously that's got on to number 1. You know it, I know it, but without further ado, it's Mahomes. After 1 week of being in the 2 slot for me, he's back to number 1. Now, granted, in his defense, they had the primetime game against the Saints last week, the Sunday night game, and statistically, yes, he threw 3 touchdowns, but he didn't look great. So Aaron Rodgers had a big opportunity that he missed against Carolina because Mahomes, again, threw for 3 touchdowns, but he only completed like 52% of his passes. The Saints had him. They were getting pressure on him, and they were playing good coverage on the back end, but Mahomes, being Mahomes, made a couple plays and still had a good game. But it wasn't like a blow-your-mind kind of game where if Aaron Rodgers came out and threw 4 tuds against the Panthers that he wouldn't have been in the number 1 slot. But Mahomes did enough. Aaron Rodgers laid an egg. That's why for me, Mahomes goes back to number 1. Vegas, he was always number 1. Look at his odds, minus 400. That's not a good bet. Like, to me, if you're going to put money on Patrick Mahomes right now at minus 400, it is not a good bet because when I'm looking at minus 400, I'm thinking, okay, he's pretty much has it all but locked up. And that is not the case. That's why I just find it weird that these odds are so far apart, because those are better odds than I think Aaron Rodgers should have right now if you were going to put money on him this late in the game. And these are odds that are way worse than Patrick Mahomes should have, because, again, statistically, I didn't pop him up on the screen, but he's still better in most categories than him except for yards. Completion percentage, touchdowns, interceptions, all that stuff. Aaron Rodgers is still better. Still better. So these odds are a little off for me. And then, like I said, I mentioned it when I brought Josh Allen up. Plus 1,300. I wouldn't put a big bet. I wouldn't put, if you can't afford to bet like $50, I wouldn't bet $50 on Josh Allen. But if you have a little money, you want to throw a flyer, not bad. Here's why. Big game. So, and this is what's working in these guys' favor, Rodgers and Allen, and not Mahomes. And this is why I don't like the odds. Josh Allen plays the Monday Night Football game this week, so he's going to be in primetime. Everyone's going to get to watch Josh Allen against Bill Belichick and the Patriots, newly eliminated. He comes out, he balls up, these odds go way up. People are going to start putting money on him. Aaron Rodgers this week has Saturday Night Football game. Saturday, Sunday night. I don't know. He has a night game against the Titans. Titans have Derrick Henry. He's going to go off. He's going to run for a lot of games. Their secondary is not great. He can throw for a lot of yards. And again, primetime game. All eyes are going to be on these two this week. Him, Patrick Mahomes, down the stretch, has a couple of 1 o'clock games. Plays the Falcons, not really great. Plays the Chargers, not really great. And they gave him a problem the first time they played. So, based on the opponents and the fact that the Chargers really made it tough on him the first time, and they seem to always make it tough on him, I wouldn't bet him at minus 400. But the fact that he's got a primetime game and a good opponent against Tennessee, that if he lights up, doesn't matter that the secondary stinks. They're 10-4 or 11-4. Like, they're a good football team, so people are going to take notice of it. And Josh Allen, again, Monday night, all eyes on him, playing Bill Belichick. He lights that defense up, whether it stinks or not. A lot of people are going to, get excited and think that he can potentially make a run at this thing. So if you're looking to put a bet on anyone, he would be my number one. He'd be my number two. I'd stay away from him altogether. And these guys don't even count. Plus 4,000, plus 6,000, no chance. But I would stay away from him altogether because those odds are just not good enough with how close the MVP race in reality is. I don't know why Vegas has it so far off. Now, he could come out and he could throw 5 touchdowns against the Falcons. He could suck, and he could wrap it up. But he can have an okay game. He can light it up. He can light it up. And now he's 1, he's 2, and he's kind of creeping in. So that's what I got this week. Probably going to be the same guys next week. But I appreciate you tuning in. Enjoy it. Maybe subscribe. Get at me next week. Preview some games. People get mad at me. They write mean comments. It is what it is. That's why I do this. Now I'm just rambling, so I'm going to end it. Hope you had a great Christmas. What you going to do when Hulkamania, Chupamania runs wild on you?